Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 6 Degrees of Feature Film podcast. I am Catherine Trammell, also known as Brienne, also known as Miss Movies.
And I am Gus.
You
I
could be
want to
Gus.
say I want to I want to be his partner Gus, aka Stacy Howard. Welcome to the show, you guys. A very important, very sexy show.
That's right. We decided to just go with sex because it's 69. And if you
Yeah.
miss that opportunity, like how often does that opportunity uh, uh, present
Not a
itself?
lot, not a lot.
I know.
69 times.
Definitely doesn't present itself
Definitely
enough
doesn't
in my
present.
life.
No.
But, anyways.
Well, everyone should try it. It's very enjoyable. A little uncomfortable sometimes. You
Sure.
might have to be a bit flexible.
Mm-hmm.
But here we go. This is the show.
This is the show. Stacy poured us some generous amounts
I sure
of
did.
champagne.
I
So
sure did.
that's what's happening right
Cheers,
now.
doll.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. Ben.
Cheers, Bengineer.
Don't even see his glass. You don't see his glass. You don't see his face. You see nothing from
I want to say hey to Randall Sands and Decipher 8121.
it. Hi, guys.
Hi, thanks for joining us in the chat. So here is how our show works. We don't have a guest today. It's just the two of us, which is kind of nice
Yeah,
because
I like
we
that.
haven't had that in a while.
We haven't. We haven't had any alone time in a while.
That's right.
It's always a threesome. It's always some other person coming in. But I miss my intimate partner.
I know.
I missed our snuggle time together.
I know.
Snuggle
It's
a
great.
little
I'm
bit.
glad that we're back together. Yay.
Yay!
And I love our guests. We've had great guests.
We have had amazing
Mhm.
guests this season. Why did I say season?
because yeah, I don't know.
I guess I think of our podcast in seasons.
Okay, okay.
Technically, it's like it's almost spring. Okay, so let's say we had like
We're
a winter
a
season.
while away, at
Yeah.
least a month away,
Yeah.
a little more.
For our winter season, we had lots of great guests and great upcoming guests. We're so excited. But today we were like, no, let's have intimate time.
Yes,
And it's
exactly.
perfection. I'm
Here's
super excited.
here's how the show works. We take one film, and we show how 6 other films link up to that film,
Mhm.
which is why we call it 6 Degrees of Feature Film. Even though we technically talk about 7 films,
Yes.
sometimes even more films than
All the time, even more. films.
Definitely.
All the time. Can I just say,
Yes,
okay, this is
please
going
say.
to be, because this is a sexy show. This is a dirty episode, you guys. Randall Sands said, hey, Clint. And I thought it said, hey,
you didn't.
something else.
No, you didn't.
For just a second. I read it really fast. And I was like, whoa.
It's already
it
getting
didn't.
crazy.
It's
But
already
we
getting
do
crazy.
want to remind you not to get too crazy in
Don't
the
get
chat
too
because
crazy.
we don't
Yeah.
want to be grossed out
No,
by anything.
No.
So
it's
please
okay
don't
to
do
be
that.
playful and fun, but not anything like that would make us uncomfortable. Because
Right.
we don't want to make you guys uncomfortable. It's all about like the feel good vibes. I'm not gonna lie, I'm already feeling a little buzzed from the champagne. It's 9:45 in the morning after all that we're recording this.
Is
So,
champagne the only like morning like alcoholic beverage you can have?
no,
is my
you can do a Bloody
question.
Mary because you can have vodka.
Okay, yes, yes.
Yeah. Or
Because
yeah.
that's like the hair of the dog that
Hair of
bit
the
you,
dog.
right?
Yeah,
Mm.
that's right. Which has never worked for me, by the way. Anytime I'm hungover and I even smell alcohol, I'm like, "Ugh." So I've never drank more in the morning and then it
Yeah.
makes me feel better. That doesn't work.
I haven't been hungover in many years, but I have had like I stayed up way too late sort of
Mhm.
hangover. Do you know what
Mhm.
that means? Or have you had that feeling where you're
Yeah.
like, I stayed up too late and now I've woken up too early and now I'm screwed
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
the rest
Where
of the
you're
day.
just like
My
exhausted.
equilibrium is off.
Mhm,
We're
mhm.
like Kathy Lee and Hoda drinking in the morning. Thank you,
Oh,
Wonder
fuck
Boy.
yeah! That's
You are
a-
totally Kathy
I am
Lee.
absolutely
I'm
Kathy
definitely
Lee.
the Hoda in this
Yeah.
situation.
Because she's the smarter, more grounded
Mm-hmm.
one, and Kathy Lee is just going off the rails all the time on some crazy hot mess. And I don't mind that. You know, that's my personality. That's my
Yes.
shtick, you guys.
It
Okay?
is.
Yeah.
All right.
All
Shall we
right.
get into this?
We should probably talk about movies.
We should.
Yeah. We're
Although
going
we've-
to talk
I've
about a
enjoyed
lot
this
of sexy
banter.
movies. I'm super excited. Okay.
Uh,
What's our
Ben, I
feature
like
film?
your your quote of she's had like 3 sips. Good lord. Okay. Oh, our feature film today is Basic Instinct, which came out March 20th, 1992. If you have not seen the film, it is on Netflix in the United States. It is about a violent suspended police detective investigating a brutal murder. I can't speak today.
How much
In-
champagne have you had? Okay.
In
Talking
which
smack to me.
a manipulative and seductive woman could be involved.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Hmm.
This is director Paul Verhoeven.
Verhoeven? Verhoeven.
Sure, let's get this together. And
Mhm.
written by Joe Esterhaus. Esterhaus?
Esterhaus.
Something close to that.
Yes.
Starring Sharon Stone, Michael Douglas, Jean Tripplehorn, which is this is her feature film debut.
Really?
Yes, and
I
she had to
did
get
not know
naked.
this was her first movie.
I know.
Oh my gosh. Or
I
like,
like
first
her.
feature film. She is great. What's she doing these days? I haven't
Probably
seen
in
her.
some television show.
Probably. She's probably on like NCIS or something.
That sounds about right.
Which there's nothing wrong with that.
I love NCIS.
Every like great actor, great character actor of the
Mhm.
90s always ends up on those
LL
shows.
Cool J.
Yeah, fucking LL Cool J, man.
Yes.
That's
Chris
stuff is,
O'Donnell.
yes.
I
that
used to
stuff
love
is
him.
Perfect.
Leonardo
He's
DiCaprio,
good.
Chris O'Donnell, and Matt Damon were like my three. Like I am in love with these guys when I was a
Really?
teenager.
Really?
Yes.
Jake Gyllenhaal, always and forever. Still
Mhm.
hot. Still good looking, by
Thank
the way.
you, Ben. Let's hear from you right now.
She was on Criminal Minds for
See,
2
yes.
years. Yeah, no,
Yes,
you were
I
very
called
close.
it.
Okay, good.
I called it. Fantastic. Okay.
So this was made for 49 million and made 352.9
Woo!
million at the box office. Was nominated for 2 Oscars, I'll have you know.
Really?
Best editing and best original score by Jerry Goldsmith. He lost to Aladdin for best original score.
Well, that makes sense.
Makes sense
Mhm.
completely.
But I did like the music in this film. It added a lot to the tone.
Mm-hmm.
This movie, the 90s was the time of like sexy crime thrillers. Like that was like the genre that was, pushing the envelope. And this movie, I
Mhm.
feel like kind of kicked off a lot of imitation films after it.
Like Sliver.
Yeah. Yeah.
And some we'll get into soon.
Mhm.
Although I feel like the one that we're going to get into might be before this.
I think so.
I
Who
don't know what's up
knows?
with my notes, but they're completely off right
No,
now.
but Basic Instinct was one of the first films that I saw where it was
Mhm.
like super like explicit sex scenes.
Right.
I
Probably
think,
mine
Mhm.
too.
I think it was
And there were
probably a lot
no
of people's
body
first.
doubles used in this.
No.
But Michael Douglas was like, "You will not see my frontal." Sorry.
Right. He was
Sorry,
like,
everyone.
no to the PP. But this was during the when not a lot of people, when the whole country was very misinformed about the AIDS epidemic and
Mhm.
about some of the precautions you should take and the causes and everything. So
Right.
they had to wear like genital pads during their sex scenes because
They probably
thought
should
they
have
would catch
anyways,
AIDS. Yeah.
because they
'Cause
get
that's
kind of
gross.
nasty.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
the things that they're doing. Like I know certain things aren't real on
Mhm.
screen. Like penetration is not real on screen, but there's
Right.
some things that you can't like.
You bump
can't
uglies.
fake.
You touch
Right.
things,
Mhm.
So it's kind of like nowadays people wear what's called a merkin, right? That's like if you have it's like your little pubic hair
Okay.
wig is called a merkin.
All right.
But no, I'm just saying.
I'm going with
I'm
this.
just saying I learned about that because Rooney Mara talked about it for The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Okay.
And so it's called because like a bikini Birkin but it's called a merkin though. So there you go. But
Hmm.
they should have just worn something like that.
The more you know. Maybe they didn't have that technology back
Maybe
then.
they didn't.
in
It
92,
hadn't been invented yet. But
when
they
I was
had,
11.
They had genital pads. So there you go.
I don't know when I first saw this movie, but obviously I rewatched it the other night. I was like, there's some pretty good scenes in this one in terms of like sex scenes. Although there's that weird thrust that she does at the end that's supposed to be like, you don't know if she's killed someone or
Right.
not.
Or
and
if she's
so-
like orgasm.
yeah, and that's kind of weird. But other than that,
Yeah, it's
Pretty good.
certainly not accurate or natural looking, really. But it's movie sex, you guys. It's different. It's all and it took like 5 days to film. Can you imagine
That sounds
filming a sex
awful.
scene for 5 days?
this is why they get paid the big bucks.
yeah,
Which
that's
she
true.
probably wasn't paid that much because Sharon Stone
No.
wasn't really that known at the time. I mean, she had been out there, but
Mhm.
she wasn't even the first choice for this.
Oh no, they had like 13 other women.
and they're
they
like, "We're
wanted.
not doing this. This is gonna kill my career."
Yeah,
And she was like, "All right, I'll do it.
yeah, yeah.
I
Because
need
she
the money.
did.
We'll try this."
Before this, she was in Total Recall, which also Paul Verhoeven directed, and so
Yeah,
they
right.
did that. And I read a story that he wasn't considering her, but then she went to go do like a voiceover bit for Total Recall or some kind of audio dub or whatever. And so because she wanted this part so bad, she wore a super tight, sexy dress to the session so that way he would see that she could portray this, femme fatale of Catherine Trammell. And then he was
Hmm.
like, okay, I'll give you a test
Yes.
reading.
Reminds me that I should have worn my Catherine Trammell dress, but I did not. And then I was like, oh,
So
I
disappointing.
missed that. But I might be wearing it another time.
Ooh,
So
I look
yeah.
forward to that.
I'm going to do a 90s photo shoot like I did the 80s photo shoot, but with 90s. I'm going to do her with the white dress.
Fantastic.
Just that.
Just
Nothing
that.
crazy.
Just that,
we've
or
talked
other
about.
extra things
Just
maybe
that.
she doesn't have on.
Well, no.
Oh, okay.
All right. What else do we want to say about this film?
There are lots of different little trivia things that I found on there that were pretty
Mhm.
interesting. So Sharon Stone was about to
Yeah.
quit acting and
To
study
do
law. Yeah.
I love that.
Because apparently she is incredibly intelligent in real life. And that wouldn't surprise me at all that she would be like, fuck all this, I'm gonna go, to law school and study.
Mhm.
But then she auditioned and got offered this part. So good for her. Good for her.
Is it good for her though? Maybe she should have done law. What if she would have been like this kick-ass lawyer that like
She could have been a kick-ass lawyer, yeah. But instead
brought
she's a
down the
kick-ass
man?
actress. I think both roles are important in society.
Okay.
What do you think?
I mean, I enjoy being entertained,
That's true.
but I
That's
don't
true.
know. I don't know what could have become of Sharon Stone, the lawyer.
I don't know.
Hmm.
We'll
Things
never
to think
find out.
about.
Can you imagine her being the lawyer that walks in though? Like, excuse me, Your Honor. I'd be like, oh, okay, I did it. I don't, okay. Like, I would be so intimidated and so just kind of in awe of her. She's just the most beautiful woman. I feel like she's fantastic.
Guess they wanted Julia Roberts, and Julia Roberts was like, no,
No.
I can't see Julia Roberts being
Mm-mm.
this role at all. I also like that this movie completely ignored DNA evidence, which was
That was
like
fun.
at the time like was new and breaking ground to
Mhm.
like bring down criminals, and
Yeah.
so they're
'Cause
just
it's-
like, you know what, we don't need any of that.
No, it's gonna ruin the plot. That's exactly what I thought. Because at first I was like, okay, they just has her DNA is all over that scene,
Mhm.
and there would have been like, I guess she wiped down the weapon. Like it would have been completely solved if they had just like
Right.
done DNA evidence,
Super quick.
which had been done like starting in the 80s. So it's not like it was like a newfangled thing. This has
Mhm.
been
But
like
it was
going
starting
on
to
for at
get
least
really
5
good.
years or something. Yeah.
And it continues.
And yeah, it can making a murderer, you guys. It continues to exonerate people.
Mhm.
Is that the word for it? When you get yeah, thank you, Ben. Thank you, Ben Engineer. Exonerate. That's the word. Guys, it's early and I have had champagne. It's hard to think of words.
It is hard.
Words are hard.
So
Jean
anyways,
Triplehorn.
yes, back to her.
She's fantastic. I just wanted to talk about her for a second. Oh, you know what was a funny quote I found from Sharon Stone? She said that the sex scenes were so choreographed that she referred to herself and Michael Douglas
yes.
as the
Fred
horizontal
Astaire
Fred Astaire
and Ginger Rogers.
That's fantastic. I like that.
That should be in a trivia somewhere.
Which
it won't.
That absolutely should. We're gonna make our own.
Who are the horizontal Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers?
Ding! Michael Douglas and that Stone chick. Fantastic. Okay, what
I
are we
think that's
going?
it.
Yeah, that's about it. I feel like if you haven't seen Basic Instinct, it's on Netflix. Stream
In
it,
the US.
watch it. Don't watch it with other people. That's super awkward.
That is unless it's a Netflix and chill situation. But you'd have to watch it
Ooh.
first, I feel. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you could pause it.
You have to. Well, once it gets
I
hot
don't
and
know.
heavy, you might need to pause.
Which starts pretty early.
Yeah, it's the very first scene.
I know, which
She's
is
getting
kind of
hot and
crazy.
heavy, and you're like, whoa, okay. Oh,
Why
you
do
know
they
what?
all have? Well, he had a mirror and she
Mhm.
had a mirror. I was like, is
Who
this
has
just the
mirrors above
trend?
their bed? Wait, was that his? I don't think that was his place though. I think that was her beach house, maybe.
No.
Was it
It's
his?
not. It's his place.
Who has mirrors above their bed? Who
She
can
does.
get? No, I know, but like
Who
in
installs
real
that?
life? Who installs that? I would love to call someone up and be like, listen, I need a mirror above my bed. I need it installed on Tuesday. Like, can you just imagine the conversation? Someone be like, oh, okay, what's that for?
You know what? I think people just are happy to get paid for something.
That's true.
so
Happy for the job, happy for the work. That's life, people. You got to do stuff that makes you feel weird. It's all right. It's
All right, all right.
Okay.
I
Okay.
also like that, like, I totally forgot that Catherine Trammell is like a really rich woman because they're in San Francisco and it's like you
Mhm.
go to her like mansion
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, that's like a $10 million,
Yeah.
$20 million mansion in San
Mhm.
Francisco at that time.
Mhm.
Probably even more now.
Way more now.
Way more.
She was, but supposedly, she killed her parents though, which is how she got rich. And then
Is
she's
that,
also
oh
a
yeah,
writer
because
too.
they were in a boating accident? What was their
Yeah,
accident?
it was a boat accident.
Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Was she driving the boat? What'd she do? She cut the
She
brakes
cut
on the boat?
She cut like the wire or whatever. And so there was a big investigation. They never found out, so she was never charged. And also, she was like 15, I think.
Just
or-
because she wanted the money?
Yeah, probably. No, she
Wow.
said to find out if she could do it or get away with it. Because she's talking about
Mm.
another book she wrote where a little boy
Mhm.
kills his parents on a plane crash. That's the whole thing about this
Wow.
movie. Can you imagine this person in real life? There are people like this who are complete sociopaths, diabolical, incredibly intelligent and charming, and just want to see what they can get away with because they're like so much smarter than everyone else that they're bored and they're just like, what can I do?
Mhm.
And you'd think that they would be like, I'm going to go work for the government and change lives and build communities. But
Yeah.
no. They're like, I'm going to kill my parents. I'm going to have sex with mirrors. I'm going to go buy an ice pick and
Mhm.
fuck shit up and go crazy.
I really love what's going on in the chat right now.
I don't
Talking
even
about the
know.
logistics about a mirror above a bed in California being
What is that?
earthquake
Oh, yeah.
like city. That's not going to go well for you.
That is not going to
Someone
go
will
well at
die.
all. It's going to shatter. It's going to crash. You're going to
Now
get glass all in
there's
your
the
hair.
long con where it's like trying to kill someone. Let's wait for the earthquake.
Yes.
How do we figure that out?
long
We
That's
have to
like
figure that a scientist of some sort
yeah.
starts the earthquake somehow.
That's like
'cause
some Ocean's 13 shit right there. You gotta
by
you gotta
blowing it up or
install it.
blowing up the San Andreas Fault. I feel like this has
Yes.
happened in like Superman or some shit like that.
Probably.
Hmm.
Probably. All
So
right,
look
let's
out,
move on.
everyone in California with mirrors above your bed.
Yeah.
Be
What are you
careful.
doing? Sex can't be that great.
I hope you have
need to watch
insurance.
yourself and risk your lives.
You're probably better off with like a closeted mirror closet.
Yeah, you can see just as well from the side. The angle's probably not as good, because gravity.
Sure. 'Cause
But
crap.
it's okay. It's
All right.
okay.
All right, very good.
All right.
Let's move on.
Yay!
We're moving on to other just sexy films.
Sexy films, yeah.
Okay. Let's start with 9.5 Weeks, which came out February
Yes.
21st, 1986. I'll get into my opinions in a second. A woman gets involved in an impersonal affair with a man. She barely knows about his life, only about the sex games they play, so the relationship begins to get complicated. This is directed by Adrian Lynn, who also did Fatal Attraction. I think I know Adrian Lynn's entire that's the one director I actually know most of the things he's done.
I had to look that up and I was surprised at all the stuff he'd done. I feel like I wrote down all the movies that he had directed and then now I can't remember them all.
Because it's
I
not a
thought I
very
put it.
long list,
Mhm.
but it's like an impactful
memorable.
one.
I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, whoa, I've seen that. I've seen
Yeah,
that. Whoa,
right.
that one too?
Indecent Proposal.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Nice. All those fun things. It starred Mickey Rourke, Kim Basinger, Margaret Whitten, Davis Margulis, Christine Baranski. This movie, to me, it
Mhm.
has I feel like there was a novel and it was much more
was.
explicit
Okay.
and much more had a lot more details about the horrible traumatic experience she went through because of this relationship and how she was much more of like a sex slave to him and much more of like his plaything versus an actual woman going through an emotional and traumatic experience. So to me this movie sugarcoats what actually happens, but it does show the emotional toll it takes on her, and the director did that to her as well.
Yes. Wait,
Yeah.
you read the book then?
I didn't read
What
the
is
book.
happening with your phone right now?
I don't know. Oh my god. Siri just turned on and was like Googling stuff all by herself. Guys, there's a fucking ghost in this house. Okay, there's a sexy ghost, and it's like, you guys talk about sex? Okay, I'll go in there. No, but this is one of the first portrayals of one of those not exactly BDSM, but a power
Kind of.
play relationship.
Right.
Kind of where You see before 50 Shades of Grey, before all that, you see on screen what happens in these, dominant submissive relationships and the kind of people that seek them out
Yeah.
or get involved with them and the consequences of it.
But
So-
unlike 50 Shades of Grey, where there's like a contract and he's like very specific with, I
Mhm.
want you to be my submissive.
Mhm.
This doesn't do that. So this is kind of like she becomes that, even though she doesn't really want that.
Right.
You know? So it's
So-
more
mhm.
abusive in that regard,
very
because the
abusive.
other one, comparing to 50 Shades,
Mhm.
like knows that that's what that relationship is about,
Mhm.
and like is very specific about it. So I find that less abusive because she has that contract,
Mhm.
which is kind of whatever. I don't know. I don't know why we're talking about that
I
movie.
also, well, no, that's an interesting point. I also feel like maybe because
Mhm.
the dominant submissive BDSM dynamics of relationship weren't really talked about back then or known about. It was
Right.
more of not a secret society, but it was more closed doors. That maybe it wasn't a subject
Right.
that people were even really familiar with that they would want to write about in a film, but they did know of people who might have even just divulged small details and small information about what that kind of relationship would be like. So for 50 Shades, there's a lot more information out there. There's like entire websites dedicated to how to have this kind of, relationship and this kind of dynamic. But for this film, it was kind of people's first introduction to what that would be like. And there's some really disturbing instances in the movie. There's some really sexy instances in the movie. So they have like a scene with sex with food. So that was one that was like playful and fun.
They didn't really
I thought.
have sex with food.
They were being
till,
intimate.
Like,
it was like their
maybe
foreplay.
maybe the end it's alluded to when there's like honey everywhere. I hated this movie.
Ah!
I hated this movie from the first frame to the last frame. Everything about it made me hate life.
Mhm.
And then I watched 50 Shades of Grey and I was like, I don't know which one is worse.
Mhm.
I think 50 Shades of Grey is a little bit better though, maybe because of the contract issue that I'm talking about. But like
Mhm.
Mickey Rourke, I love the hair that's going on with him in this
Oh,
movie.
he looks great. This is the last time he's looked good.
Overall, yes. Like, what
Mhm.
happened? He did drugs too hard?
He did
Like,
drugs.
that's
He
probably
was a
what it
boxer too.
is.
He left and was like, "I'm gonna become a boxer," and he had plastic surgery, and
He just looks rough. I'm
he
sorry.
looks rough.
It
Oh,
makes me
Mickey Rourke.
sad.
Yeah, it's super super sad. The movie makes you sad, but I think that's the point, though. Like, I don't fault the movie
Huh.
for that, and I don't look at this and say this
I
movie
didn't
is
find
so
it
horrible.
sexy though. I was like, this is
That's-
just making
I
me
know.
uncomfortable.
That's the
I
thing.
hate everything.
I feel like that was the whole point of the film was, yes, there are sex scenes, but
Mhm.
and she can't see quite yet until she's in too deep that
Mm.
she is being abused and manipulated, and that the relationship she has is unhealthy and wrong. So in the beginning, she's charmed by him. He's mysterious. She's never been in any kind of relationship like this. And she hasn't been in a relationship for a while because she is
Mhm.
divorced and she's kind of just getting into the dating world. And so she is
Yeah.
completely seduced by this man. And in the beginning, it's all about playful games and, oh, let's, we'll dress up and go to dinner and be, like kinky and weird in front of strangers in a restaurant. And then it becomes a much more dangerous game where he
Right.
is
Where they're
he's
having
very
sex in
abusive.
like a storm drain.
Yeah, that was so
That's
gross.
gross because of all
There
that dirty
has to
water.
be a
I
chlamydia
can't-
everywhere. I don't know. Maybe not chlamydia, but
I'm like,
what's it
no,
called?
this is not sexy. I am disgusted by
Yeah.
all this water that
Someone's
is
getting
coming
tetanus.
down.
Gotta get your shots. Gotta get your shots, you guys. That was super gross. I was like, this is like sewage water. Okay, I know it's the rain, but it's like sewage water. That's gross. But it was also, yeah, and she was like dancing for him, and so the beginning relationship is, to her, playful and fun and like
Mhm.
kind of dangerous. Not dangerous, but it's different. It's kinky. It's weird. It's like, oh, what's this? Okay, and then it delves into something much darker, much deeper, and much more abusive to her, which is why she, spoiler alert, has to leave him in the end.
I mean, we spoil the whole movie
oh
anyways.
yeah, for sure.
Don't watch this film. It's terrible.
Well, I
The
think
only
it's-
reason this is regarded in any way is because of the like food
Mhm.
eroticness.
Yeah,
The rest of it is dumb, everyone.
but I think it's an important
Neil.
film to watch, though, because it's not meant to make you look at this relationship and say, oh, how great, they're having like a a dominant submissive dynamic here. It's meant to show you, look how awful this is. Look how this
Look at
relationship has
how
broken
abusive.
down this woman, and it is abusive. And I think it's important to show that. So I don't look at this movie and say, oh, it's great. What a wonderful relationship and how loving they are with each other. I'm like, it's portraying what would realistically happen when someone enters a relationship like this. They're broken down, they lose their confidence, they lose
Yes.
themselves. She lost herself in this relationship. I mean, she wasn't doing well at work. She was getting distracted. None of her friends knew what was going on. She lost her life.
I just
know?
realized that our first core 3 films
Mhm.
have rape in them.
Oh,
And that bothers me.
That is not good. That is
But
not
like
good.
this was also early on where people think that I don't know. There even though you're in a relationship and you say no,
Mhm.
like for some reason at that time it wasn't a no means no. Like I feel like no means no came out like in the late 90s, 2000s, like
Yeah.
this is not okay anymore.
Mhm.
Like we need to like push for the no means no
Mhm.
agenda.
Yeah, I feel like
But-
there are instances in film like in this one when she there's a scene when he's like throwing money at her and it's very degrading and she doesn't want to do it. And there's a scene in Basic Instinct where he basically rapes Beth,
Yeah,
rapes Jean Triplehorn, and she says no, and that was super controversial. You know, it is today. It was less so back then because people were like, no, it's like a sexy, it's like a a sexy scene or whatever.
Right.
She wanted it, or she was playing along. She went with it. She could have just pushed him off her. But I think it's important that these these moments were in film back then, and people didn't know how they should respond to them or what to say, and now we're more familiar with the language and we have people that are coming forward and saying this isn't right.
Yeah.
So it's more of it's more in the forefront now.
Let's go on to our next film.
Yeah.
So we started with Basic Instinct. We
Mhm.
went to like sexy
films.
movies
Yeah.
with 9.5 weeks, and now
Mhm.
we're going to Unfaithful,
Mhm.
which came out May 10th, 2002. It is about a New York suburban couple's marriage that goes dangerously awry when the wife indulges in an adulterous fling. Also directed by Adrian Lynn. What do you know, Adrian Lynn?
He also directed Jacob's Ladder
I
and
know.
Flashdance. You guys,
Yes,
he directed
Flashdance.
Flashdance.
That's pretty much his entire catalog.
Yeah. Flashdance is a great movie, and
It
it
is
has,
great.
in my opinion, a more positive light on
Mhm.
women in sex in the relationship. You know, because she was in
Yeah.
charge, she was in control. She was like, "No, I'm doing this, boy."
She was in charge. This is starring Richard Gere, Diane Lane, Oliver Martinez, Eric Pear Sullivan, who went on to do Malcolm in the Middle. He was like, I think he's the youngest. Oh, I
Mhm.
mean, he wasn't the middle. So
Yeah, he was the youngest one for sure.
the budget was 50 million. It made 119 million at the box office. It was Diane Lane was nominated for Best Actress in a Leading Role for this. This was her first nomination for an Oscar. She lost to Nicole Kidman in The Hours.
Oh,
So
she
sorry,
deserved
Diane.
that nomination, though.
Mhm.
She is fantastic in this film. My favorite scene, which I think might be your favorite scene too, is the train scene.
Yes, with all the
Fantastic.
emotions.
Yes.
We have some trivia on that scene. Did you
Ooh.
get some trivia on that scene?
I did, yeah.
Okay, it says the scene where Connie rides the train home after her first sexual encounter with Paul and silently remembers the encounter was filmed in one continuous take. The camera simply stayed on Diane Lane as she went through a series of expressions, and then the scene was cut and edited together.
That's perfect. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Because she portrays, you see her go from scared about what she did, ashamed, excited. She has like a secret now. She feels sexually empowered. It obviously gave her a lot of pleasure, and she's nervous about what happened. She doesn't know how to react. She's having a lot of emotions, and you see it all in the face. It's fantastic acting.
So here's my issue with the movie Unfaithful.
Okay.
And I've said this before.
Lay it
I don't remember when I said this, but Act 2, I want more of Act 2 and less of Act 3.
Act 3 being like the crime part of it?
Yeah, the crime part. I was like, oh, this is where this is going. And then I was like, oh, Okay. I'd rather have more of their affair and less of all that business.
I'm gonna disagree with you on that
Okay,
point.
you disagree.
Because to me, the film is a three-parter. Because in any
Yes.
relationship, you have it's like
The
a
meet cute.
firecracker. Yeah, the
Mhm.
meet cute. You have like the hot and heavy beginning where they're being playful and fun, and ooh, it's like a secret. It's kind of dangerous. Then you come with the emotional consequences of it, which
Mhm.
is people find out, relationships are broken,
Right.
marriages end, children are split apart. Not literally, like he wasn't torn in
Right?
half. The
No.
guy from
No.
Malcolm in the Middle. No, no, no. And then the last part of it is now the legal consequences. So it is
Mhm.
now escalated into Richard Gere kills Olivia Martinez, and you're like, "Fuck! I didn't know I was gonna go there. Oh shit! He's in his trunk. They're at a play. They get in an accident. He's almost discovered. You guys.
They're at a kids play.
They're at a children's play. And he has the whole scene where he's like wiping off the blood, and oh my gosh, it's so crazy. So to me, that third act is showing you the very dangerous, over exaggerated consequences to an affair. Is your whole life falls apart and people die. That usually doesn't happen. Sometimes it does. If you ever watched any kind of true crime, it's always like the husband found out about an affair and killed the wife and buried her in the backyard or something. I watch way too much TV, but it's just kind of a culmination of everything that could happen and like an over dramatization. So I liked that third act. Actually, I liked that there was like 1, 2, 3, beginning, middle. Oh fuck, the end. Yeah,
Great.
the end though. What they were gonna do, because the actual end of this movie that was in theaters
All right.
was an ambiguous end.
Right. Well, kind of. But
Well,
the other ending that they had was
mhm.
kind of not really. I don't know. It
Well,
wasn't much different.
Well,
I'll
because you
say
don't
that.
know what they decide. They're talking about
Mhm.
it. They're talking about we can go to Fiji, we can move away, we can leave all this behind, and then it cuts away. To that. That's it. That's just them discussing what should we do about the situation.
Really?
But the real ending was
I
he
saw
walks in.
them pull up to a police station.
That's what is the extended version. But in
Oh,
theaters,
so then
you
I
just
saw
see
the
them
extended
talking about it,
version.
or
Okay.
that's like the
Okay.
director's cut,
Got it.
or not the director's cut, but it's
The
something.
version I saw was him in a police station,
Mm.
like outside of it.
Mhm.
Like, I'm gonna
That-
drop you off.
Yeah.
You get out the car.
The one in theaters though is they just talk about what they're gonna do, and then it kind
Huh.
of pans up and you see the traffic light and then roll credits. So it was more of an ambiguous ending. But the one with the where he walks into the police station that's not what I saw. I think I just saw it on like HBO. Like
Yeah.
that was the theatrical version.
Now, the best sex scene in this film is the one in the stairwell, but I can see that that is a rape scene as well.
Yeah.
So that makes it, I'm a little torn on
Yeah.
that because she tells him no,
Mm-hmm.
but then they still end up having sex.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I don't know. She said no, but she wasn't also like trying to get away from him either.
Right.
So that's hard. This is a hard line.
To me, the reason she said no is not because she didn't want to have sex, but I think she was saying no as in like we need to end this relationship. We can't do
Right.
this anymore. But she still sexually wanted him and was attracted to him and wanted to continue it. But she didn't think that she could go on hurting her family like that.
Right.
So to me, her saying no was like, no, we shouldn't do this versus no, I don't want to do this.
Got it.
So I guess for me, I didn't see it as rape,
Okay.
but I did see it as her being conflicted on what was right.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my response to the scene. And you're right, it was very
Okay.
sexy because it's Olivia Martinez. You guys, that's how it
other
varies.
people that they were thinking of for that role were George Clooney, Johnny Depp, Robert Redford, John Travolta, and Bruce Willis. Oh wait, no, that was for Edward. Sorry, those were Edward choices.
I
That's
would have loved to
that's
see
the
Bruce
Richard
Willis.
Gere
Mhm.
choice. But the ones for Oliver Martinez's role were Brad Pitt and Ryan Philippe. That would be interesting. Well, Brad
Yeah.
Pitt. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it's
obviously.
Brad Pitt. Ryan Felipe, I could see as well because the
Uh-huh.
whole Cruel Intentions. He had kind of that
Mhm.
same like dangerous bad boy personality. But yeah, well, they decided for him to be French, which I think is a good move because he is already an outsider because he's foreign.
Mhm.
He's already other. He's already an exotic
Worldly.
option to her. Worldly, yes. And he has his books. and he has his dancing music and everything. Oh, wouldn't you love for a man to just dance with you and whisper, "You should sleep with your eyes open," or whatever he says to
What
her.
does he say?
Because he's like, "You have beautiful eyes. You should learn to sleep with your eyes open."
That's creepy.
Yeah, it's super creepy, but it's sexy in the moment though, because he says it with a French accent. Can you imagine, like, American, like, "You should learn to sleep with your eyes open"? That's a horrible.
You could do it with a Texas accent.
You should learn to sleep with your eyes open. A little bit, maybe.
I don't
Okay,
know.
okay, I could picture that, but no.
Brooklyn, New York.
New York, you should learn to
learn
sleep with your eyes open, kid.
All right. Obviously,
We're not the best
We're
at
ready to
accents,
move on.
you guys. Okay.
do you want to go to your? Okay, so we started with Basic Instinct, then we went to Sexy Films with 9.5 Weeks and Unfaithful, and now we're going off of. You want to go
Sure.
off of 9.5 weeks?
Off of 9.5 weeks. Off of 9.5 weeks, I'm gonna go with. I just started a little bit. I am gonna go with movies with water sex scenes in them because they
Mhm.
get it on in a drain, a sewage drain. I don't even know what that place is.
It was
It's
a
so gr-
stairwell,
It was like
but
a
it was
stairwell that's
like water. It
raining.
was the
It's like
accumulation of the water
lava.
was just out of control.
I don't know. I don't even know where to begin. So movies with like water sex scenes. So first I'm gonna go with Wild Things. Now I haven't seen this movie in a while, but from what I remember, from what IMDb tells me, a police detective uncovers a conspiracy behind a case involving a high school guidance counselor when accusations of rape are made against him by two female students. Came out in '98, directed by John McNaughton.
How old are the students supposed to be?
Um,
Like in high school?
They're supposed to
Get
be in high
outta
school,
here.
but Denise Richards was
Get
27
out.
and Nev Campbell was 25 at the time.
No
So
one
that's
believes that. Like if they had said college, why not just say college?
because it's more dangerous because they're high school students
Oh,
and they're
please.
underage.
Bunch of bullshit.
Denise Richards had a boob job, by the way. No high school student would have like a boob job. I mean, yes, nowadays people get them, but that's like
Right.
Yeah,
I
I don't-
don't think
yeah.
that parents are paying for that procedure. So
I
unless
don't
there's
know.
like a 18-year-old that like somehow has enough money from babysitting, I don't know. They've saved
maybe
up
she,
from
like-
middle school all the
Yeah.
way. I have no
just be
idea.
an Uber driver. For
Why
a
not
few
just put
months.
cutlets in?
Yeah, just put little chicken cutlets.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
You don't need to get crazy.
Not literal chicken cutlets, you guys.
Yeah,
They're
no.
called cutlets for a bra, and it pushes it up.
Uh-huh.
Okay. The female anatomy is a mystery. It stars Kevin Bacon, Matt Dillon. Hey, Matt,
Aw.
what you doing? Hey, Nev Campbell, Denise Richards, Teresa Russell, Robert Wagner. Bill Murray's in this for like 20 minutes. Still got top billing because he's Bill fucking Murray. You know. I haven't seen this in a long time, and I kind of forgot the plot. But the the pool sex scene is incredibly memorable, and it's one of those, if you ever read like top 20 sex scenes in movies or whatever, it's always on there. I feel like because it starts with a fight. Okay,
Of course,
starts
as
with-
they do.
as every
As
sex,
most do.
every time I've ever had sex, it starts with like a little slap fight. Denise Richards and Nev Campbell fighting in the pool, and then eventually they get so turned on by this just passionate, heated argument that's going on that they
Sure.
then go
Mhm.
at it. And then there's also a threesome with themselves and Matt Dillon, which is super sexy as well. And they said that to get through it and get like the nerves off,
They had to
all
like take
just-
shots. And
yeah,
stuff.
they
They're like,
just,
we
like,
got to get through
down
this somehow.
tequila, which
Kind of like how I got through the Schmodown.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. I'm gonna do that next time with you. We
Okay,
need to take
great.
a celebratory shot.
I'm buying a flask. Like I
Oh.
won't have to go to the restaurant next time.
Okay, all
Next
right.
time I'm bringing a flask.
We should just bring alcohol in 2-shot classes and do it like on the
Yes.
show.
No, I don't think that's legal.
We can't.
No.
Why not?
I think there's like legal aspects to that. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't
well,
think
that's
that's legal.
silly. Well, we should just do it just behind the curtain.
Sure.
Yeah, no one's gonna know.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, we're telling you now it's gonna be real, but no one's gonna know. Don't tell. This
All
is
right.
just private between
Back
us,
to
you guys.
wild things.
Back to Wild Things. So this movie, to me, it's kind of one of those things where it was like not I guess gratuitous. Yeah. It was
Mhm.
like, let's see how sexy we can be. And again, it was the 90s. It was those like sexy crime thriller, things where it was like, we're going to have a plot and it's about like people are murdered and there's like, all kinds of characters involved, but there's like lots of sex in it. Like that was like the
Yeah.
90s formula was like hot stars, sex, murder. That's like everything that was wanting to be involved.
Mhm.
So I feel like that's why I don't remember the plot or remember the movie because it's like it doesn't matter. It was like so and so whatever pool sex,
Okay.
Kevin Bacon
Yeah.
butt in the shower.
There we go.
And I think you see
That's all
his.
you need.
might have seen his little kibbles and bits a little bit. Maybe I don't know.
Maybe.
It's one of those blink and you'll miss it kind of moments, but I think you kind of see it swing in a little bit, which is uh not my least favorite thing that's ever happened. He was a producer on the film too.
Of course he was.
So
He's
was
got to do other things. He's like, I can't be in every movie ever.
Yeah,
So
I
need
can't.
to
I can't. That's true.
need to do some other stuff.
Denise Richards, I feel like this was like her big
His
break.
bacon bits. Thank you, Wonder
His bacon
Boy.
bit. Oh, that is fantastic. I am dying. His bacon bits. That's perfect. Wow. Wow. I don't know why I didn't think of that. I'm not smart or funny enough for that, but Wonder Boy, you got it, boyfriend. Denise Richards, this was like her breakout role, I
Mhm.
guess.
Yeah,
Was she a Bond girl before this movie or after?
I think after.
When was Bond? When was her Bond that she was in? Was it Die
When
Another
did she
Day?
play Christmas Jones?
Christmas Jones,
Oh,
I feel like
God.
was her name.
So bad.
Oh, Jesus. Why? And she was like a nuclear physicist.
Yeah, what is that?
Can
I
we
can
talk about
defuse
that
this
moment?
bomb. Okay, let's move on. Actually,
No,
Like,
can we talk about that moment
I can't talk about that moment.
for a little bit, 2 seconds,
has
because
it.
the way after 99. Okay, so she did this movie and then she was a big enough star to be like, yes, I'm a Bond girl now. I feel like whenever she
You
said
missed
that
your
moment,
Ben. Sorry.
it was like, what is he? It was like, how are you gonna defuse this bomb? She's like, what are you doing? She's like, nuclear physicist. I'm like, oh Jesus! Like the way she said that line
No,
was
I don't believe
perfect
it.
for the movie, but also it was Denise Richards, so it wasn't exactly believable. Not the way she said it. Not
Let's
the
go to
way
your
she said
next
it.
movie.
Okay, all right. Awful.
Your
Wild
next
Things.
pool scene, which people were guessing.
Yeah,
which they
of
definitely
course,
got.
guys. Of course, I'm going with 1995's Showgirls. Paul Verhoeven also directed this film.
Oh, hey.
Hey, Paul. Nomi, a young drifter, arrives in Las Vegas to become a dancer and soon sets about clawing and pushing her way, pushing, get it,
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
becoming the top of the Vegas showgirls. Okay, it's starring Elizabeth Berkley, Kyle MacLachlan, Gina Gershon, my girl, Gina fucking Gershon, Glenn Plummer. Guys, the guy from Speed. Okay, that Keanu Reeves steals his car, and then he's like, "Take the phone." That's the same guy. I love it. What was that? Alan Rockins, Gina Rivera, Greg Travis, Patrick Bristow. So many moments.
Listen,
in this
this
film.
water sex scene is like
Insane.
impossible. She's like at his like waist.
Yeah,
That's
she's
not-
at his. But that's
no,
not where his penis
no.
is.
Mm-mm.
It's a little bit, from what I can tell, it's a little bit lower. My boyfriend's penis is at his waist,
Okay,
but his
thank
is
you.
a little bit lower. I don't know about everyone else's partner. Just kidding, guys. So this movie or this pool scene that I'm referencing, it's got to be like one of the most ridiculous sex scenes ever filmed because she's
Yeah.
like flopping, and I'm like, how
It's
is that sexy?
No. How does
How-
that work? It doesn't work.
No, she would have drowned. She was underwater so much that she would have been like, "Hold on, I got water up my nose. I need you to pause for like 2 seconds, and we'll get back to this." But this film, though, I feel like it was meant. No, it absolutely was meant from the director and the writer and all the producers to be a satire and a commentary on how strippers and women in general are treated in the entertainment industry in Las Vegas.
Interesting.
And so what from hold on, wait. Let me
But it
find a
became
little
too
thing.
like serious for it to be satirical.
Yeah,
I
like
think
Elizabeth
that's
Berkley
the problem.
was treating it too serious, like it was a real
Hmm.
dramatic role. She really wanted to sink her teeth into, and she was so sincere and
Well.
so endearing that I feel like that's what took away from the movie. If you look at other of like Starship Troopers, you know, or if,
Mhm.
if you're looking at Basic Instinct, any of Paul's other films, clearly they are an over dramatized, over the top, exaggerated commentary on what's, the base of what's really going on. So in this
Uh-huh.
film, he's trying to comment on how women are treated so horribly in the performance industry in Vegas, but it becomes like a fucking cartoon because of these weird scenes where you like don't know what the tone is, or the tone that you're seeing on screen is ruining what the message is supposed to be. So I think the
Interesting.
writer, hold on, let me find this.
I-
Joe Esterhaus. However
Yeah,
you pronounced it
he
earlier.
he worked with
Same
another
writer.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. Took out a full-page advertisement in Variety in which he dubbed the film a morality tale and denounced the advertisement of the film as misguided, also
Huh.
writing. The movie shows that dancers in Vegas are often victimized, humiliated, used verbally, and physically raped by the men who are at the power centers of that world. So he clearly knew what he was trying to say and wanted that to come across,
Right.
but because they have all these weird scenes where there's like monkeys, shitting all over the
Mhm.
place because there's garlic and these weird kind of characters, that I think the message is lost. But what they said was that they interviewed like 100 people that worked in Vegas, casino owners, dancers, producers, choreographers, and that those people that they met were then directly put into these characters, things that they said, instances that had happened. Girls would be like, I did this event, I was raped, or um I was pushed to do something that I didn't want to do. I was super uncomfortable, or I was paid to do this and it was humiliating. So all these stories that they hear actually happened, and they put that into the film. So I feel like if you had gotten a director like David Fincher or someone else who is used to very dark material and did it in another way, it would be a much more serious morality tale film. But
Right.
because they have this weird script and these weird like comedic over the top moments, you're like, what is this movie? So I don't look at it as like, oh, they're being so horrible to these women, this is a horrible movie. I'm like, I see the message that's getting across. I see what they're trying to say. They just said it in a very different way where it was just lost and it was
So
critically
then, is it a dark
banned.
comedy rather than a satire?
I guess no, because it's not something like Heather's where it's meant to be funny. I think it was. I don't even know what this movie is, but I know a lot
What
of
is this
what
movie?
is this movie? Critics at the time, I mean, it swept the Razzies. It won 13 awards, and Paul went and accepted his awards. He was the first director to do that, but it has since gained a cult following. And I feel really,
Yeah.
really bad for Elizabeth Berkley though, because I feel it absolutely ruined her career at the time.
Mhm.
And I feel like she is a good actress, and she obviously put everything she had into this role and took it really, really seriously.
Right.
Which again, I think is the downfall of the movie, and it is unfortunate because I just think that she didn't understand the movie that she was in. Gina Gershon understood everything that was going on. She knew exactly what was happening. She played it to the T.
She's Gina Gershon.
She's Gina Gershon.
She's like, I was in Face Off.
Yeah, I was making out with my brother in Face Off. Like, I know what's happening, guys. That was her brother. They made out. We need to talk about Face Off.
All right,
one
we're
day.
gonna close that up. We went from Basic
Close it up.
Instinct, and then we went to 9.5 Weeks and Unfaithful for sexy films. Off of 9.5 Weeks, you did water sex scenes
Yes.
with Showgirls as well as Wild Things.
Yes.
Now we're going off of Unfaithful. Now my movies aren't like sexy movies, but I did infidelity in film. So I'm gonna start with He's Just Not That Into You, which
Oh.
came out February
Nice.
6th, 2009. It's the Baltimore set movie of interconnecting story arcs, deals with the challenges of reading and misreading human behavior. This was based on the book that was more of a like instructional manual of like how if this happens that means that this guy's not that into you. It was like it based itself off of a Sex in the City episode where it was like he's just not that into you, and they're trying to like decipher whether a guy is gonna continue dating you or not.
Right.
And so then off of that episode, someone came up with this book called He's Just Not That Into You, and it's kind of like an advice stories of things that have happened to people that are in situations where they don't know if the person that they're with like wants to be with them.
Mm-hmm.
And so how can you tell?
Mm-hmm.
And then this movie was made just kind of as a play off.
Mhm.
I mean, it's not really, it doesn't follow the book or anything like that. So I
Mhm.
feel like, yeah, this movie was made based off of that storyline. So it came from Sex and the City, became a movie. What crazy? Ken Kawapis directed this. He also did He Said, She Said, written by Abby Cohn and Mark Silverstein, starring Ben Affleck, Jennifer Aniston, Drew Barrymore, Jennifer Connelly, Kevin Connolly, not related,
Not related at all.
Bradley Cooper, Jennifer Goodwin, Scarlett Johansson, Chris Christopherson, and Justin Long, as well as others. The budget was $40 million. It made $181.1 million at the box office.
Good.
And because it's such an ensemble film, each character only has like a limited amount of screen time. So Jennifer Aniston only had like 25 minutes of screen time, and like
Mhm.
Jennifer Connelly had about 25 minutes of screen time.
Mm-hmm.
So the infidelity in this film is, and yes, Casablanca. Yeah, I should have done that, but we already talked Casablanca. So sorry, friends.
I
But
did
love
see-
Casablanca.
Yeah.
Technically, not really infidelity because she thought her husband was dead. So
That's true.
Let's go over
That's
that.
true. They were on a break. You guys. I did see Wonder Boy. What about the Dreamers with Eva Green? Anyone ever seen it? I enjoyed when I saw it, but haven't seen it in a long time. Yeah, the Dreamers is great. Michael Pitt, and then I forgot
like
the
Michael
name of the French actor in there. But it's like a brother and sister relationship. They find a friend at the cinema, and he kind of lives with them over the summer when their parents are away, and it's shit gets crazy, you guys.
Oh,
Yeah, absolutely.
okay,
See
okay.
it? It's fantastic.
So the infidelity in this movie is Bradley Cooper's character is married to Jennifer Connelly's character, and Scarlett Johansson. He meets Scarlett Johansson at like a grocery store, which is in Burbank. I can show you where this store is.
Ooh.
And that's where they kind of like have interest. She's like a yoga instructor or something.
Mhm.
And I feel like he takes her yoga class. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But basically, they enter into this relationship, and they're like cheating. If you recall, it was like he was going to have sex with her in his office, and then his wife shows up.
And then
So he like gets Scarlett Johansson into the closet, and then his wife's trying to save the relationship. So then they end up having sex in his office, and it's like, this is very bizarre. Scarlett Johansson is in the closet right now.
She is. I remember seeing this movie in theaters, and whenever it is revealed that Bradley Cooper has actually slept with Scarlett Johansson, he's like in the bed, and then she walks over in his shirt. All the females in the audience were like, asshole. Like everyone just panned him, which of course, yes, do that. And he's an asshole. But yeah, I remember that moment vividly. I remember all the little in between the stories, they'll have like random women talking about stuff, and I remember those being really funny. One of them was, I think, Natasha Leggero, whatever her name is. She's
I think they're like comedians, right?
Yeah, they're all comedians,
in between,
basically making little cameos. And she's like, if I'm gonna call you like 60 times, I mean, caller ID, like they're not gonna pick up. So like, I'm not a crazy person, but she's like going on, and I'm like, it just made me laugh. Made me laugh a lot.
Here are some of the like storylines. We have Gigi and Alex, who's Jennifer Goodwin and Justin Long, and he's like the bartender, and she's like trying to meet up with some guy who like stands her up or whatever, and they kind of start a relationship together, but not really. There's Janine, Ben, and Anna, who are the ones that I was talking about. That's Jennifer Connelly and Scarlett Johansson and Bradley Cooper. Then there's Connor, Anna, and Mary. So Connor is Kevin Connolly, and Mary's Drew Barrymore. And Connor is like in love with this other person, and then meets Drew Barrymore. I don't know. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. I'm like, these storylines don't really matter. The one that kind of made me sad though was Beth and Neil. Beth is Jennifer Aniston. Neil is Ben Affleck, and it was like, they have been together for so long, but he doesn't believe in marriage, so he doesn't want to get married, and she wants to get married, and that relationship like can't really work. And so the way that it ends up, I was like, I didn't understand how that ended up the way that it did, and it frustrated me. And then I'm thinking later, like, but how does that look later down the line?
Right.
You know,
it's gonna be another year, and she's like, I know, but I still want to get married.
Well-
like when he's like, I still don't want to.
But it kind of ends up that they're gonna get married. He proposes to her.
I don't remember if he proposes.
Yeah,
I think she accepted. Oh, he
No,
does.
he proposes
He has
to
a
her.
ring, right? Okay, there you go. So yeah, a lot of the relationships, some do not end up how you want them to. Some, obviously Jennifer Connelly and Bradley Cooper in a divorce. She
yeah.
left him. And then Jennifer Goodwin.
Yeah.
Goodwin and Justin Long's relationship ends up together, and because they started off as friends, and he was
Right.
the one giving advice to her, and he was the one saying
That's right.
he's just not that into you. He's like the message of the movie, but then
Mhm.
they end up, she's the exception. It's like a happy ending. And
Yeah, there were too many well, he really is just that into you.
Yeah.
I was like, but that's not this.
But
That's
he's
not this
though.
movie.
It's not.
Anyways,
what's happening?
I'm gonna do my last one real quick because
Okay.
we need to close it up so we can do
Ah,
our
shit.
live stream right after
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
because someone was talking way too long and it wasn't me.
I've never talked too long in my life. I can't believe you just suggested
right, all
that
right.
I go off on.
I'm just joking.
Yeah.
I'm at fault
I
too.
always do.
Okay, so Walk the Line has infidelity in it. Jennifer
Oh.
Goodwin is also in this film. She's the one being cheated on. Woo! There's the ghost. It's just a car outside. No one else hears that but us. Anyways, Walk the Line, November 18th, 2005, about Johnny Cash's life, basically. And Joaquin Phoenix is Johnny Cash. Reese Witherspoon plays June Carter Cash. Jennifer Goodwin is Johnny Cash's wife at the beginning of the movie. This budget was $28 million. It made $186.4 million at the box office. It won an Oscar for Best Performance by Reese Witherspoon. Well deserved. Also nominated for Best Actor, Film Editing, Costume, and Sound Mixing. I love that Joaquin Phoenix and Reese Witherspoon performed all of the songs themselves. They weren't dubbed. They learned to play the instruments as well. Like that's really impressive. Although Joaquin Phoenix, I believe, already had musical background at that time.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
still.
Mhm.
And I don't know. I feel sad about that infidelity. At the same time, June Carter Cash and Johnny Cash were married
Yeah.
till
Totally died.
yeah.
It was meant to be. They were meant to be married all along, but they met
Mhm.
their other spouses first.
Yes.
So sometimes relationships don't work out, and you meet the person you're really supposed to be with, and it's
Mhm.
painful for all involved. But
Yes.
obviously, they were meant to be together because they were married for like 50 years. Did so
She
much
was
music
his
together.
pre-famous wife. That's
Yeah.
usually how it goes, right? You get
Yeah.
the pre-famous
You get the pre-famous
wife,
one.
then
Mhm.
you divorce or something, and then you have your famous wife.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sad times.
That's what I'm told.
Yeah. Yeah. Am I your pre-famous wife?
Yes.
Okay.
No. What do you mean?
Someone says
What do you mean?
Stacy needs a refill. I might, Ben.
We'll get Ben on that.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyways, in the interest of saving time, we don't have much to discuss about Walk the Line, but I really enjoy this film, and it's one that I probably need to watch more.
I need
'cause
to
I liked
rewatch
a
it
lot.
for sure. Yeah. I will say there is one scene where I'm like, oh, I want to dress like that. Why don't we dress like that anymore? And it's when she's at some award show and her hair looks gorgeous and big. Thank you, Ben. Cheers to everyone in the chat. And she has this beautiful red dress on, and I just wish we dressed like it was like the 70s again.
They
I
kind
really
of do
wish
in
we
La
did.
La
Or
Land,
60s
kind
and
of like
70s.
dress up.
Yeah,
That's
I
one
guess
place.
so. Yeah, that's true.
Anyways, let's we didn't do movie link tweets because we're doing a live Q&A after this.
Oi!
So yeah, yay. So stay tuned for that. But we'll do Kevin Bacon. Kevin Bacon was in He Said, She Said with Sharon Stone, who was in Basic Instinct. So there you go on Kevin Bacon. And we will do better with
Nice.
Rocky. We'll
All
close
right.
it up.
You guys. So this is Would Basic Instincts Be Better with Sylvester Stallone as Rocky and as Catherine Trammell? I'd have to be pretty stupid to write a book about killing and then kill him in the way described in my book. I'd be announcing myself as the killer. I'm not stupid, yo!
I always love the yo.
You gotta add a yo in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, Adrian! It's great. Fantastic.
So that's it. Let me go over our films real quick.
Yeah.
We went from Basic Instinct, we went to Sexy Films with 9.5 Weeks, as well as Unfaithful. Off of Unfaithful, I did Extramarital Affairs in Film with He's Just Not That Into You, and Walk the Line. Off of 9.5 weeks. Stacy did water sex scenes
Mhm.
with
Wild Things
And-
and Showgirls.
excellent.
Yes.
Where can we find you, Stacy?
You can find me on Twitter, tweet about movies all the time at
Mhm,
SO Howard
mhm,
2012 and Instagram at Stacey O Howard. Where can we find you?
You
Miss
can find me
Movies?
tomorrow live 10 a.m. on Movie Talk. Very excited, very
Ayy!
excited. Yeah, and you can find us in a few minutes on the Q&A that's coming up right after this. Maybe we'll answer your questions. We'll definitely be answering the how did you meet, because that's what everyone asks.
Yes.
So
And I
we'll
actually
answer
need to
that.
go back in my messages for
Okay,
that
yes,
one.
good.
Stay tuned, you
All right,
guys.
yeah.
Come
So
back
thank you all for
on.
joining us. We will see you next time, next week.
Bye. Bye, guys.
Bye. 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 Bye.
Bye. Bye. Cheers.
Bye. Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Chug.
Bye.
Chug.
Bye.
Bye.